On New Year's Eve in my previous life, my daughter Mei Ling and I were pushed out of a window by my nephew, Tian, along with his parents, my brother Chen and sister-in-law Wang. The reason? I had prevented my sister-in-law from transferring Tian's household registration, hukou, from East Province to West Province. Tian, who was more interested in playing, only scored 400 points on his college entrance exam. But because the admission cutoff in East Province was just over 300, he reluctantly got into a second-tier university. Meanwhile, my daughter, Mei Ling, whose hukou was in West Province, studied diligently and achieved a score of 700, earning her admission to Tsinghua University. Tian believed that because I had stopped his hukou transfer, he was stuck in a second-tier school. After Mei Ling got into Tsinghua, my brother and sister-in-law's attitude towards me grew colder and colder. Finally, on New Year's Eve that year, when Tian discovered he only earned 3,000 yuan a month while my daughter could earn 50,000 yuan, he exploded. The three of them banded together and pushed Mei Ling and me out the window. But miraculously, when I opened my eyes, I was back to the day my sister-in-law intended to transfer Tian's hukou. This time, I decided to respect the fate of others. The last New Year's Eve, Tian sat at the dinner table, boasting endlessly. I earn 3,000 yuan a month. What's so great about Tsinghua? In the end, it's just working for someone else. Look at me, running my own business, earning 3,000 yuan a month. Isn't that better than those useless bookworms? He then turned to my daughter. Mei Ling, what's your monthly salary? Look at you, wearing such country bumpkin clothes. What's so amazing about Tsinghua? You probably work until midnight every day and still can't even earn 1,000 yuan a month. My daughter couldn't take it anymore and retorted, Cousin, my monthly salary is 50,000 yuan plus year-end dividends. As soon as her words fell, Tian's entire family instantly fell silent. No way, Mei Ling, didn't you say you worked nights? Brother Chen tried to interject. Tian cut him off. Mom and Dad don't believe her. She's just a girl. If you can earn 50,000 yuan a month, I'll cut off my head and serve it to Mom as a side dish. My daughter calmly pulled her payslip from her purse and laid it on the table. This time, Tian's entire family's eyes went wide. Brother Chen's face alternated between red and pale for a long time before he finally managed to say, drink your wine. I thought that would be the end of it. But to my horror, in the middle of the night, while I was asleep, they tied both Mei Ling and me up. It's all your fault. If you hadn't stopped me from transferring Tian's hukou to West Province, the one who got into Tsinghua and earned 50,000 yuan a month would have been my son. It's all your fault, I know it. You're jealous because our family had a son. You were afraid your daughter would be overshadowed by my son, so you deliberately obstructed us. If it weren't for you, I would have gotten into Tsinghua. At this moment, the one earning 50,000 yuan should be me, not your daughter. I looked at my brother and sister-in-law, my heart turning to ice. Even if Tian only got into a second-tier university, if he had worked hard, pursued a master's degree, or become a civil servant, he could still have had a bright future. Or even just found a decent job and lived a stable life, that would have been comfortable enough. But Tian became increasingly lazy. After entering university, he failed required courses and skipped electives. He only knew how to cheat on exams, and if he couldn't cheat, he didn't care. Because he failed so many courses, he was almost expelled. Brother Chen and sister-in-law Wang claimed they were illiterate and couldn't help. They begged me to talk to the dean. I had to humble myself, promise profusely, and guarantee I would strictly supervise Tian. The university reluctantly gave him another chance. After that, I rented a place near the school for him. Every day after work, I would go to supervise his studies. Especially during exams, I even took leave to stay with him, ensuring he studied seriously. Thanks to this, Tian barely passed his courses and graduated. After graduating, because his GPA was too low and he failed the level 4 English exam, Tian couldn't find any decent company willing to hire him. Finally, through my connections, he managed to secure a somewhat stable administrative job. But Tian complained that administrative work was too tiring and quit after 2 days. Brother Chen and sister-in-law Wang again tearfully begged for my help, and I had to run around everywhere to find him a job. Unfortunately, Tian would only work for 2 days at each job before complaining it was too hard, or if his boss scolded him a few times, he would immediately quit. I was at my wits' end with him. Later, Tian complained that working for others was restrictive and didn't earn much money, so he started a small business. But because he couldn't endure hardship, his business was on and off, only earning about 3,000 yuan a month. I had always treated Tian like my own son, treating him and Mei-ling no differently. Yet I never imagined Tian harbored such hatred for me. Even brother Chen and sister-in-law Wang regarded me as a thorn in their side, a nail in their flesh. "It's all your fault, you wretched woman. You're jealous because our family had a son. You intentionally made things difficult for us, you lowlife." They cursed and pushed my daughter and me from the floor below. My poor daughter, a bright life just beginning, was snuffed out just like that. When I opened my eyes, I was back to the day my sister-in-law wanted to transfer Tian's hukou from East Province to West Province. This time, I decided to respect the fate of others. "Li Mei, help me think. Should I transfer Tian's hukou to West Province? Everyone says the exams in East Province are easier, but how can a son not follow his father's hukou?" In my past lives, I had spent so much effort analyzing the pros and cons, talking until my mouth was dry, just to make my sister-in-law abandon the idea of transferring Tian's hukou. "Sister-in-law, I think Tian is so smart. It won't make a difference where he takes the college entrance exam. East Province might have easier exams, but how can it compare to the excellent teachers in West Province?" Right, Li Mei, you're absolutely right. My Tian will definitely get into Tsinghua or Peking University. West Province certainly has better educational conditions. West Province and East Province only differ by a few points in the admission cutoff, but my Tian won't need to worry about that. I smiled coldly to myself. With Tian's score of just over 400 points, if it weren't for the East Province cutoff being just over 300, how would he have had any chance of getting into university in West Province, where the cutoff is over 500? He wouldn't even qualify for a community college. At that moment, Tian walked in. He looked at me with hostility. Mom, don't listen to her nonsense. You must transfer my hukou to West Province. With such poor teachers in East Province, what good university could I get into? I must study in West Province. Only West Province teachers are worthy of me. Later, I'll get into Tsinghua or Peking University and earn 50,000 yuan a month." Hearing my nephew, I immediately understood that he had also been reborn. "Tian, your aunt just told your mom that a talented person like you deserves to study in West Province. Only West Province is up to your standards." Tian looked at me warily. Hearing his mother also agree to keep his hukou in West Province, his gaze finally left me. I heard him mutter, "Consider you know your place, otherwise I'd push you and your daughter down again." "Tian, your aunt is looking forward to hearing the good news of you getting into Tsinghua or Peking University." My nephew replied disdainfully, turned to leave, but unexpectedly turned back. "Mom, if I transfer my hukou from East Province to West Province, doesn't that mean Grandma has an empty spot in East Province? Why not let my cousin Mei-ling use it?" he said, looking at me smugly. I knew what he was scheming, but found the idea quite agreeable. My sister-in-law initially found the idea of transferring Mei-ling's hukou to East Province very troublesome, but she couldn't resist Tian's demand and agreed. My mother's hukou was originally in East Province, but only one child could be registered to study there at a time. From childhood, my mother had always favored brother Chen, which was obvious to everyone. Because exams were easier in East Province, she decided to transfer Tian's hukou there. I didn't object, as Mei-ling was always an excellent student. Even taking exams in West Province, she was capable enough to get into a top-tier university. My nephew, however, always ranked at the bottom of his class. Only in East Province, with its low bar, might he have a chance of getting into university. Now, my sister-in-law was instigated by Tian to transfer his hukou to West Province, while Mei-ling's hukou was moved to East Province. This was their choice. Learning from my past lives, I respected the fate of others. I was just curious what kind of school Tian would get into this time, and if Mei-ling could go even further. With his West Province hukou, Tian still performed poorly, causing my sister-in-law and brother to be criticized by his teachers every time they attended parent-teacher conferences. "Li Mei, what do you think? My Tian studies so poorly, what should I do?" Sister-in-law Wang had just returned from a parent-teacher conference and was holding my arm, sobbing. If this were my past life, I would have offered earnest advice. But now I only felt disgusted. Li Mei, Tian is only in 8th grade, and the teacher said with his current grades, he might not even get into high school. Li Mei, look, Mei Ling is a good student and she's in the same class as Tian. How about Mei Ling tutors Tian a bit? It would be like reviewing for Mei Ling anyway, and with Tian studying alongside her, Mei Ling will definitely make even more progress. Sister-in-law Wang said, looking at me as if I owed their family a great debt. It was truly ridiculous. With Tian's abysmal grades, dead last in his class, how could he possibly help my Mei Ling? Listening to my sister-in-law, it sounded as if Mei Ling tutoring Tian was a great blessing for our family. Sister-in-law, Tian is only in 8th grade, why are you rushing? You want my Mei Ling to tutor Tian? Look in the mirror first and see if you're worthy. In my past life, perhaps because of our family bond, I would have agreed. But in this life, the fact that I didn't outright crush their intention was due to my good upbringing and patience. To still want to occupy my daughter's time, that was simply dreaming in broad daylight. Mom, what's the hurry? I'm a boy. How can that girl tutor me? Experts say boys mature later, but their potential is immense. Mei Ling is only good because we boys haven't unleashed our potential yet. Just wait until I do, I guarantee I'll leave her in the dust. Tian said, looking at me smugly. Indeed, such was the confidence of those who had been pampered since childhood. A child who wasn't even sure he could get into high school, whose grades were a mere fraction of Mei Ling's, dared to speak so loudly. But I played along with his words. After all, the higher the expectation, the more painful the fall. Sister-in-law, Tian is absolutely right. Boys like Tian mature later, but they are certainly not ordinary. Later, they'll get into Tsinghua or Peking University with just a flick of their finger. Who knows, Tsinghua and Peking might even be fighting over him. My sister-in-law, hearing my words, was clearly very pleased, her face beaming. Li Mei, you're so right. Look at old man Zhang's son from our neighborhood. He used to skip school and play video games all the time, but in 12th grade, he studied a bit and got into a top-tier university. My Tian is much smarter than him. As long as he studies properly, if not Tsinghua, then it must be Peking University. Sister-in-law Wang said, patting Tian's head. Look at my son, so tall now and he's still growing. Handsome and smart, he'll definitely achieve great things and be recorded in history. I looked at my sister-in-law, full of self-satisfaction, only thinking to myself, still growing taller. Does she want her son to be a grand official in the Qing dynasty? But on second thought, this analogy perfectly suited my sister-in-law's foolish appearance, exactly like a husky, while Tian, both stupid and arrogant, was no different from a Qing dynasty prince. Mom, so can I go to the internet cafe today? Tian said, his eyes shining brightly, but with a foolish light. Go, go, my good son. Have fun. Later, Mom is just counting on you to get into Tsinghua or Peking University and earn lots of money to bring glory to our ancestors. My sister-in-law, hearing me, felt even more reassured and indulged her son to her heart's content. Time flew by, and soon it was time for the high school entrance exams. As expected, Tian performed terribly. He couldn't even get into a public high school. In my previous life, Tian took the exam in East Province, where there were fewer candidates, and almost everyone got into high school. Even with his terrible grades, he was eventually admitted to a public high school. Li Mei, look, Tian's scores are so low, what should we do? My sister-in-law and brother held his report card, sighing repeatedly. With scores like this, he can't get into any public high school. If not, the only option is a private school, but private school tuition is so expensive. My husband and I don't have good finances. Where will we get the money? Sister-in-law Wang said, glancing at me suggestively. I knew what they were planning. In my previous life, when Tian was almost expelled from university, my sister-in-law and brother also put on this act in front of me, softening my heart. I took care of everything, including supervising Tian's studies. But in this life, I didn't have time to be a fool anymore. They were just trying to extract money from me to pay for their son's private school tuition. I remained silent. Seeing this, my sister-in-law quickly added, "Oh dear, it's not that much money. The teacher said it's only 100,000 yuan a year. Li Mei, you have a decent job with a high salary. This amount is nothing to you. You're Tian's aunt. Are you really going to begrudge helping the Liu family's only nephew?" As she spoke, my sister-in-law nudged my brother. Li Mei, my wife is right. This money isn't much, and Tian is our family's only nephew. I looked at my brother and sister-in-law. Their act was perfectly coordinated. I almost burst out laughing. That's truly not much, brother, so you should help Tian pay the tuition. You're his biological father. Are you really going to begrudge money for our Liu family's only son? Brother Chen saw me pretending not to understand and kicking the ball of responsibility back to him, his face turning slightly red. Li Mei, what are you saying? How could I begrudge it? That's wonderful then. I knew you wouldn't begrudge it. So, you two should quickly go and register Tian for school. Don't miss this opportunity for Tian to get into Peking University or Tsinghua. I also have to go and take care of Mei Ling's enrollment. I'll head out first. I didn't give Brother Chen a chance to say another word, grabbed my bag and walked out. While waiting for the elevator, I could still hear Tian yelling after me. Li Mei, don't think that just because your Mei Ling girl got into a public school, she's so great. Just wait. My dad hasn't unleashed his full power yet. I took the exam in West Province. How can that backwater East Province compare? I'm telling you, your Mei Ling will at most get into a second-tier university. Tsinghua is definitely mine. If you kneel and beg me now, maybe later I'll take pity and let her work as a cleaner in my company. I was too lazy to reply, letting him shout whatever he wanted. The college entrance exam would prove everything. Time flew by, and soon another New Year's Eve arrived. Brother Chen and sister-in-law Wang had sold their house to cover Tian's 3 years of private high school tuition. At the dinner table, they bragged, "Our Tian is in the top 100 of his entire grade." "Oh, really? Tian is so talented?" I ate, feigning admiration, secretly laughing to myself. Tian being in the top 100 of his grade was true, but it was because he attended a private school with small class sizes. Each class had less than 10 students, and the entire grade only had 10 classes. Even a dog could make the top 100 there. "How about your Mei Ling? What's her rank?" Sister-in-law Wang asked, taking a sip of wine, her face smug. "Sister-in-law, my Mei Ling is only ranked 150th in her entire grade," I said, feigning a sigh, my eyes full of admiration for Tian. Mei Ling's 150th rank was indeed true, but her school was the best high school in the province, with over 5,000 students in her entire grade. Students in the top 200 all had a chance of getting into Peking University or Tsinghua, and many were even directly admitted without taking the college entrance exam. I had long known my brother and sister-in-law's penchant for bragging, so I had told Mei Ling to treat them like two fools. Just flatter them for fun, as long as she maintained a safe distance. Mei Ling caught my signal and chimed in, "How can I be as good as Brother Tian? He doesn't study much but still made it to the top 100. I, on the other hand, study until midnight and still can't get into the top 100. I almost dropped out of the top 200. I secretly glanced at my daughter. The corners of her mouth trembled as if she was trying to suppress a laugh. "Sister-in-law, you see? Tian is truly smart. Indeed, boys have much stronger potential. At this rate, getting into Tsinghua or Peking University is just a small matter. By then, my family will still need Tian's help a lot." As I spoke, I raised my glass and took a sip of wine. My brother and sister-in-law, thinking I was toasting them, straightened up and nodded like royalty receiving homage from their subjects. In reality, I was just drinking to suppress my laughter. "What? In that case, for your sake, when I get into Tsinghua or Peking University, I'll put in a good word with the admissions officers and get your Mei Ling a spot in the school." I couldn't hold back anymore and burst out laughing. As an adult, I always controlled my expressions well, but this time, I truly couldn't. Where did he get such confidence? Did he think Tsinghua and Peking University were his own businesses? Perhaps instead of thinking about helping Mei Ling get into school, he should worry about which factory pays higher overtime wages. "Why are you laughing?" Tian turned to me, surprised. "I'm just so happy, Tian. Mei Ling will need your help a lot in the future. Brother and sister-in-law, you truly know how to raise children. Tian is so smart. I'm sure the admissions teams from Tsinghua and Peking University will be lining up at your doorstep in the future." That's right. It's truly a concern. I wonder if we should choose Tsinghua or Peking University. Yes, it is indeed a concern, just afraid we'll have to weigh between Peking University, Tsinghua, and Taiyuan Vocational Technical School. Under my subtle flattery, the New Year's Eve dinner was lively. Brother Chen, sister-in-law Wang, and Tian all laughed and chatted boisterously. Laugh, laugh as much as you want. I only fear that in a few years, you won't be able to laugh anymore. 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. The day college entrance exam results were announced had arrived. How did our Tian do? Sister-in-law Wang looked at Tian with eyes full of pride. Oh, Mom, don't worry, I have no problem. Just wait and see, Peking University and Tsinghua will be knocking on our door. I knew it, my Tian is the best. Sister-in-law Wang turned to me, excited. Li Mei, when the Tsinghua and Peking University admissions teams come to our house, remember to come and see, just for the experience. Sister-in-law Wang grew more excited as she spoke, as if she could already see the scene of admissions teams from the 2 prestigious universities vying for Tian. According to my sister-in-law, Tian's performance ranked him in the top 3 of his entire grade. At first, I was quite surprised. Based on his ability, even at the worst private school, he could only be at the bottom of the class. But Mei Ling later revealed that, according to Tian's classmates, his scores were all due to cheating. The teachers might not have known, but his friends were well aware and were waiting to see Tian exposed when the college entrance exam results were announced. However, I didn't expect Tian to still be so confident, even though the results were only a few hours away. Was it because he had been flattered since childhood, or had he been reborn and knew the answers beforehand? Sister-in-law, the scores are about to be announced. I'll take Mei Ling home. Li Mei, are you afraid Mei Ling's scores won't be as good as Tian's, so you're embarrassed? We're all family, there's nothing to be ashamed of. Besides, Mei Ling is just a girl. It's normal for her to not score as well as Tian. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Sister-in-law Wang pulled my arm, grinning slyly. What? Even if Mei Ling doesn't do well, it's fine. How can she compare to me, a born genius? You and Mei Ling stay here and watch the scores. You two can witness your nephew's top scholar achievement. Tian said, stretching lazily. In my previous life, even with Tian's poor grades, he didn't resort to cheating on the college entrance exam. Everyone understood that one could cheat on small tests, but college entrance exam scores couldn't be faked. If exposed, wouldn't it be an even bigger joke? But this life, he was completely different. If he was putting on an act, it didn't look like it. He even invited Mei Ling to watch the scores together. When Tian mentioned the words, born genius, I suddenly felt worried. Could he really have remembered the answers beforehand? Having no way to refuse, Mei Ling and I stayed to watch the scores. I was also curious to see what results he, who had been reborn, would achieve. As soon as the scores were released, the system was very busy. It took many attempts to log in. Finally, Tian cheerfully exclaimed, I'm in. The whole family stared intently at the screen. Asterisk 332 points. Brother Chen and sister-in-law Wang's faces darkened. Brother Chen almost exploded, grabbed Tian by the collar, and punched him in the face. Is this what you call sure to get in? 332 points and you dare to claim Tsinghua or Peking University? You've made me lose all face. As he spoke, he angrily kicked Tian to the ground, his fists raining down on him. No way, Dad. Wait, let me check again. I'm sure there's a mistake. Tian cried, clutching his head, begging. Hearing this, Brother Chen paused his hand to let him check again. Tian frantically re-entered his exam number. The result was still the same, 332 points. Are you done now, huh? Seeing Tian's miserable expression, Brother Chen said nothing more, pulled out his belt, and whipped him repeatedly. Impossible, impossible, I clearly remembered the answers. I remembered them from my past life. How could this happen? Tian muttered while enduring the beating. I was a bit suspicious but quickly understood. He must have remembered the answers to the East Province exam from his past life, while in this life he was taking the exam in West Province. Realizing this, I almost burst out laughing. A fool, even after being reborn, remains a fool. He truly shot himself in the foot. Brother Chen, seeing Tian mumbling, grew even angrier. He threw the belt and was about to pick up a nearby iron chair to throw directly at Tian. Sister-in-law Wang hurriedly hugged his legs. Honey, are you trying to beat our Liu family's only son to death? Seeing Brother Chen wouldn't let go, sister-in-law Wang rushed to hug Tian tightly, using her body to shield him from the chair. Sister-in-law Wang groaned in pain. Her cries made the enraged Brother Chen stop, panting, gradually calming down. Honey, maybe this year's exam was too hard. Tian was the best in his entire grade. If he didn't do well, then others probably didn't either. That's right, what about Mei-ling then? How many points did Mei-ling get? If Tian is like this, Mei-ling probably didn't even get 100 points. Like father, like son, even at this moment, they didn't forget to mock my daughter and me. I found it. We rushed to Mei-ling's computer. Even Tian scrambled to his feet, eager to see, but before our eyes were only 5 words. Result has been hidden. Seeing this, Tian immediately went from sadness to joy, bursting into laughter. Ha ha ha, Mom and Dad, look, Mei-ling doesn't even have a score. She must have been caught cheating. Brother Chen and sister-in-law Wang also laughed excitedly, their annoyance over Tian's score disappearing. Oh dear, Mei-ling is not good at studying, but why would she cheat? This is a moral issue. I heard that cheating on the college entrance exam is a crime now. The police might even come to arrest her. Li Mei, I'll give you a piece of advice. Not being good at studying can be remedied, but breaking the law is a serious matter. You need to re-educate your daughter. Don't let her go down the wrong path. If you can't teach her, I can help. Saying this, he picked up the belt he had just thrown and forcefully whipped it on the floor to show his authority. Mei-ling trembled in fear, hiding behind me, her eyes welling up. Mom, I didn't cheat. Mom, you have to believe me. Of course, I believe you. I quickly hugged my daughter, pulling out a tissue to wipe her tears. Don't be afraid. Mom will call her teacher right away to clarify this. I hadn't even had a chance to call Mei-ling's homeroom teacher when the teacher called me first. Tian glanced at my phone screen and sneered. I bet her teacher is bringing the police to arrest Mei-ling. Mei-ling heard this and burst into tears again. I didn't cheat. I wanted to slap Tian twice, but right now, the most important thing was to get to the bottom of the matter. I answered the phone. Hello, teacher, I'm Mei-ling's parent. Is something wrong? Hello, sister, I'm teacher Wang, Mei-ling's homeroom teacher. I was just about to call you to inform you. Congratulations! Your Mei-ling scored 703 points, ranking first in the entire province. She's the valedictorian. Currently, I and the admissions teams from Tsinghua and Peking University are at your house. Even the television station is here to interview her. Where are you? Hurry home with your daughter. I was stunned, joy falling from the sky. In my previous life, Mei-ling scored 700 points, but because West Province was highly competitive, she barely qualified for Tsinghua and couldn't choose her preferred major. I never expected that in this life, taking the exam in East Province, Mei-ling would achieve the top score of 703 points and become the provincial valedictorian. Mei-ling, did you hear? You're the top scholar in the entire province? I hugged my daughter tightly, overwhelmed with emotion. Mei-ling was so happy she couldn't speak. I glanced at my brother and sister-in-law. Their faces were ashen. After a long silence, they reluctantly offered, Congratulations, Mei-ling. Brother and sister-in-law, do you want me to take you to see the Tsinghua and Peking University admissions teams? Just to broaden your horizons a bit. Tian, however, seemed to go mad, muttering repeatedly, Impossible, impossible. I'm the one who was reborn. I took the exam in West Province. I should be the top scholar. How could it be that Mei-ling girl? Mom said Mei-ling could never surpass me. He yelled, smashing things around the house. Brother Chen's face turned purple, and he slapped Tian hard, sending him sprawling to the ground. You still have the nerve to speak. Brother Chen angrily grabbed Tian by the collar, gritting his teeth. Who promised me he would get into Tsinghua or Peking University? Now you can't even compare to a girl. What good is it for me to raise you? Tell me clearly, how did you get that first-in-class achievement of yours before? With these scores, forget Tsinghua or Peking University, you don't even have enough points for a junior college. Sister-in-law Wang didn't try to intervene either. She turned to scold Tian. Because of you, we had to sell our house. Now we have to live in this shabby rented place, and you give us scores like this. After saying this, sister-in-law Wang sat down on the floor, exhausted, her face helpless. I saw the situation was getting out of hand. I was afraid they would drag me into it as an excuse to blame me or cause trouble for Mei-ling. I couldn't let my daughter be in danger. Brother and sister-in-law, Mei-ling and I will excuse ourselves first. The Tsinghua and Peking University admissions teams are waiting at my house. I can't keep them waiting too long. You two can take your time teaching Tian a lesson. I turned back, smiling falsely, and deliberately added, Oh, by the way, Tian's classmates said he always cheated to get top ranks. I didn't believe it at first, but now it's clear. Brother and sister-in-law, remember to teach your son carefully. It's okay to be a poor student, but don't let him become a cheat. Don't you agree? Wouldn't this disgrace the entire Liu family? I subtly used the sarcastic tone they had just used with my daughter and me, making their faces turn red and then pale, choked with anger. Without waiting for their reaction, I grabbed Mei Ling's hand and left the house. But what did that matter to me anymore? I took Mei Ling home. As soon as we arrived, the admissions teams from Tsinghua and Peking University immediately surrounded us. Is this student Mei Ling? Mei Ling, come to Peking University. We will waive all your tuition fees and dormitory expenses. Get out of the way, get out of the way. Tsinghua's admissions representative pushed through. Mei Ling, coming to Tsinghua will be better. You can choose any major you want. Peking University only waives tuition and dormitory fees. What's that? Tsinghua will waive all fees and give you an additional 2,000 yuan scholarship every month. We also let you choose your major freely and will give you a one-time scholarship of 200,000 yuan. Tsinghua is so stingy, giving so little and still daring to compare with Peking University. In that case, Tsinghua will add another 50,000. Mei Ling, come to Tsinghua. There are more handsome male students here than at Peking University. Handsome? The male students at Tsinghua are constantly arguing. Come to Peking University, our male students are more handsome and talented than Tsinghua's. I watched the two sides vie for Mei Ling, unable to suppress my pride. She was indeed my daughter. In the end, Mei Ling still chose Tsinghua, just like in my previous life. But the difference was that this time, she entered Tsinghua with the title of provincial valedictorian and chose her most favorite major. I did it, Mom. Mei Ling stood in the sunlight, holding her Tsinghua admission letter, joyfully waving at me. I hugged her tightly, the guilt that had weighed on me since my rebirth now bursting forth. Mei Ling, it's all Mom's fault, I'm sorry. It's okay, Mom, Mei Ling smiled, comforting me. I don't blame you. Look, this time I not only did better but also got into my favorite major, so aren't all the regrets from the past life compensated? It turned out Mei Ling had also been reborn. She knew everything, but because she didn't want me to feel guilty, she had pretended not to know anything. From the day Mei Ling entered Tsinghua, I almost completely cut off contact with my brother's family. After what happened in previous lives, who knew what else they might do? Sister-in-law Wang called a few times, asking me to find a job for Tian, but I always refused. After many rejections, sister-in-law Wang stopped calling. According to relatives, Tian didn't get into university, so sister-in-law Wang had to send him to work as a factory laborer. But he would work 3 days and take 2 days off, and before long, he was fired. Tian tried to start a small business, but this time, without my help, the family's money had been depleted since my brother and sister-in-law sold their house to pay for his high school tuition. Without enough capital, Tian had to borrow from loan sharks, with interest compounding. The money he earned from his business wasn't enough to pay. Driven to a dead end by creditors, he turned to gambling to pay off his debts, but the more he gambled, the larger his debts grew. Unable to pay the loan sharks and the casino, Tian had one leg broken and his pinky finger chopped off. Over the years, he had borrowed from all his relatives. Now, whenever anyone saw Tian's number call, they were afraid and didn't dare to answer. Just as I was talking about Tian, my brother called. The surrounding relatives, seeing this, quickly waved their hands, signaling me not to answer. But I just smiled. The debt from my previous life, it was time to settle it now. My brother invited Mei Ling and me to his house for dinner. I knew his true intentions. Mei Ling lost her father at a young age. If my brother killed both me and my daughter, my family's assets would belong to him. When he saw me arrive alone without Mei Ling, Brother Chen couldn't hide the disappointment in his eyes, but he still pretended to be enthusiastic, inviting me inside. At the dinner table, Brother Chen and sister-in-law Wang continuously poured wine for me, glass after glass. I pretended to be drunk and slumped onto the table, motionless. Seeing this, Brother Chen told sister-in-law Wang and Tian to tie me up. He then used my phone to call Mei Ling, saying I was drunk and asking her to pick me up. It turned out they still intended to repeat the tragedy of my past lives, wanting to kill both my daughter and me. But this time, they wouldn't get their way. Brother Chen carried me to the windowsill, waiting for Mei Ling to arrive so he could push me down in front of her. But alas, the person they were waiting for was not Mei Ling, but the police. The door was broken down and the police stormed in, arresting my brother's entire family. Brother Chen roared, "It's all your fault, Li Mei. You stopped Mom from transferring my hukou. If I had taken the exam in East Province, I would have gotten into university for sure. You wretched woman, you ruined me. Why don't you just die? I killed you once, I can kill you again." Some people never realize their mistakes and only know how to blame others. But Tian's curses inadvertently became self-incriminating evidence, saving the police the trouble of investigating. With the crime of attempted murder, my brother's entire family's guilt was clear. Not long after, they were sentenced to life imprisonment. What a family, even going to prison, they had to be neat and tidy. Receiving the verdict, I finally let out a sigh of relief. There was nothing more to worry about. Mei Ling and I happily went traveling, enjoying our new lives.